Welcome to this edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Gil Cloud, the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. Today we'll have guests with talk about tennis, powerlifting. We'll have two principals. We'll have three people from our office, our assistant trainer, assistant AD for compliance, and Jen Sanders, who is our assistant AD for activities. Stay with us as we come back. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and our guest today is Keith Hines, the head tennis coach of the Edison Eagles. And Keith, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You've been busy. Your program is growing. You got nice courts. Let's talk about Edison tennis.
Well, I appreciate being here, and you're right, we have a great facility, probably one of the best facilities in the city for high school tennis. Our numbers are good. We've got good numbers out there, got about 20 kids. We have a good, strong singles players this year for the girls and the boys. We're working on the doubles, trying to get some more experience going there. We played a lot of tournaments. We were in Stillwater Thursday and got back at 10 o'clock at night, but we were there with Stillwater and Jinx and Claremore, and so we've been playing big schools, trying to play. We played a tougher schedule this year, just try to get the kids ready for regionals.
When is the regional?
It'll be the first Monday of May for the girls and the second Monday for boys.
There you go. Okay. And in Tulsa, probably?
I don't know. It's coming out today. Sometimes they ship you off. We might be down in Duncan.
Yeah, no kidding. That's one of the problems that we've had with the imbalance in ADM. With the numbers. We've had to do a lot more traveling. I know about 5 years ago they asked me how come we ran out of money in transportation. And I said, well, the reason we never used to leave Tulsa.
Right.
And now we have to leave Tulsa to play in districts and region and in state championships. So has the weather been a factor with your training this spring?
No, it's been fine this spring. Winter time was tougher this year. It seemed like we got out less days in the winter. We pretty much, once it gets below 35, it doesn't make any sense to practice out there tennis. But I think we've done pretty good this spring.
Well, good. What as you look at building the tennis program at Edison, I know you've got a program that you've talked about with Jen Sanders, and tell us about that program where you're going to open the tennis facility up.
Well, I do a lot of stuff at Whiteside Park through the city, and it seems to be growing and getting bigger and bigger. And one of the problems with Tulsa Public Schools in the tennis is that a lot of these kids that go to the country clubs and learn tennis, they're not going to our school, and they're going to the private schools. And so recreational tennis is kind of dropped off. There just hasn't, and we have recreational kids, and tennis is a great sport, especially for kids that aren't your best athletes. Tennis is a good sport that they can get on the athletic field and make the team. So I've talked to Jen about that if we could do more with the nice courts we have and have more kids out there playing, where we can build kind of a city recreational program, which Tulsa doesn't really have. Tulsa has La Fortune, and they have a bunch of private clubs. They don't really have a city recreational type of program that I think if get that going, it'd probably funnel into all the Tulsa public schools.
I think you're right. I think one of the things that we've looked at, matter of fact, Jen and I were in a meeting this morning with two ladies that were talking about after-school activities and how we could entertain expanding those programs even down into the elementary schools for kids that, once you engage a student into something that they like to do, you have a better chance to keep them involved and keep them in school. And that's the key that we want to try to look at. So how are you interacting with the? Do you have the older people coming to play tennis? Adults?
Yeah, I've got like a class like over at the park where I do beginning lessons and advanced adults that it's now gotten too big. And so my next thing to do is that bring them over to the high school and start getting them over there to play, because I've kind of starting to outgrow what I can do over there at the park. And at Edison, we've got 6 courts that you can run a much more effective practice by spreading people out and letting them actually play than sitting there just feeding them balls. And they're waiting in line. So I think just by me working for the city, which has been a real good relationship, and then kind of trying to carry it over to the high school, and it could just make for a nice little city recreational program.
What do you think that we need to do to enhance the tennis program? You know, we've lost tennis teams in the Tulsa Public Schools.
Right, it's numbers, and it's a tennis problem. It's not a Tulsa Public School problem. Tennis has become, I mean, when I grew up in the 70s, tennis was a recreational program, and every city had their recreational program. Now tennis is, it's like it's back to an elite program where the only kids that are being developed are at the country clubs, at the tennis academies. Nobody can afford that kind of stuff. And then I think tennis has really dwindled as far as how many play tennis. You just go around the area, go to Zink Park, go to Whiteside, go to Manion Park, and there's nobody playing tennis. And it's because there has been no city programs really built, and so all those kids that do play tennis, they're already going to Cassia Hall, Bishop Kelly. And so we don't have tennis players at our school. That's why our middle school program that we're doing at Edison is so good, because I'm able to start kids playing. Because if I don't have that going, I don't have any tennis players coming in.
Yeah, coming into the high school. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way we can do this and to build our program, and I really appreciate you spending that time to get that done. Thanks for being here today.
All right.
When we come back, we'll have Tony Daniels, the athletic director and head football coach.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to tulsarefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. tulsarefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy, and every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to tulsarefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. tulsarefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have a guy that's got 2 or 3 jobs. Tony Daniels is the athletics director, the head football coach, and has a powerlifting program at Edison High School. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about powerlifting. We haven't talked about that here on the show, and I know you've worked pretty hard with the Edison powerlifting team. Tell our viewers a little bit about powerlifting.
Sure. We are on our 3rd year, just completed our 3rd year of powerlifting. And it's a great opportunity for kids to get out there and compete and not kind of be mundane or go through the routine workouts of just the everyday grind of what you're doing in the off season. So it's another way to get out there and compete against other high schools Similar to wrestling, you go out to an event, you compete at the same weight class, and you get out there and perform 3 different lifts. So the kids really seem to enjoy it. It's growing. It's been growing for us and the Coaches Association, who runs everything. They've done a great job of putting everything on. So it's really growing at a fast pace.
I know my son-in-law coaches down in Sherman, Texas, and he runs the powerlifting program for the boys and the girls. And so he's really busy during this time of the year because I think he finished up about 2 weeks ago with the regional down in Texas. But he's certainly sold on it, and I think it's a direct correlation, don't you, to building stronger football players?
I think so. And being as the athletic director also, I see it as for the overall programs. So besides football, we had 5 girls that competed in our middle school program this last year. So not only through high school, we also do it with, we had a couple of basketball kids that came out and did it also. And I think just a better athlete overall is definitely what helps it. But the correlation just with athletics in general and or football, the competition aspect. I mean, you get to go compete just like in a regular event that you go to. So, I mean, it's competition day in and day out.
I think it's good, the cross-training with the basketball and the girls and everything ties the department together as an athletic department. And I think that's always important.
Absolutely.
When you're trying to build a program and so on. How many kids do you have in the program?
So in our high school program, we have 44. There's only 33 that usually are allowed to compete. And but they have to compete. I mean, if we have 3 kids at one weight class, that's as many as that we can take. They'll have to compete for that one position to be able to go. But we can take up to 33. 44 in the program. We had the 5 girls. We had a couple of the basketball for the middle school. Trying to develop some powerlifting girls that want to go for high school because the association has done a great job of being able to move towards girls only competition. So sometimes they get to go and compete against other guys, which they do a really good job, and some of them end up placing, in the top 3. But then they also have females, only, and it's just a big ordeal, out there, and to be able to get other people involved into it in other aspects of the programs is great.
Well, and you talked about 33. So do you rank number one, number 2, number 3 in each of the weight classes?
We do.
Yeah.
So if we have a weight class that we have, there are 11 weight classes. In any particular order or whatever, we take it as the top 3, and if the fourth one is 5-10 pounds, away, he knows what he has to try and get to be able to go compete.
Well, that's good. Well, let's. It's a little early, but let's talk about football.
Sure.
We got spring practice here before long, another month or so, and then you'll be there. And of course, you had a good year last year, and have a good running back that returns. How are you going to build your team around him?
Well, I think Savion's done a great job, and he's gotten out there and visited numerous schools and some of our other athletes that have went with him to kind of get some of the recognition. I mean, we have 24 seniors that are coming back, so it's going to be a really big class for us. So my first year there, I'm going into my 4th year for this next season. So being able to see the numbers grow, I think I had 10. We were talking earlier. We had about 10 seniors when I first got there. So to see this group, it's always been a big group. So to see them stay together and be ready to go, there are a lot of things that we can do. Savion's a great player, but we definitely have a lot of pieces that go around him to be able to help him out too.
Well, and we look forward to that season as he comes just, before long. It'll be here before we know it. So where are some of the schools that he's visited?
He's visited Arkansas. He's went down to Baylor, trying to get him up there to Nebraska. That was his first offer. Really wants to go up there and go visit up there. And he's been to Texas, and he's been to a lot of schools that are down in Texas, so far. I think this upcoming weekend he's going to Missouri for their spring game. So we went to Arkansas this past weekend. So he's all over the place right now. He's got offers from Washington all the way over to UCF in Florida.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
That is,
It's
yes,
a
it
really
is.
good problem to have. So how many student athletes do you think you'll have in football this next year?
I think high school 9th through 12th grade will have about 72. Our middle school program for our 7th and 8th grade will probably have right around 40. So overall, having over 100 to 110, you know, overall is a really good number for us to have.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a good number. As we get into district play, who's going to be, other than Edison, the team to beat?
Bishop Kelly. Bishop Kelly's always, you know, last year we go in and we're up 3 points at halftime and have a chance. We finished second in district and go out there and beat them and have that opportunity to beat them. We could have finished first and won district. But first time in a long time, in over 20-something years, that we've been able to host a playoff. So we're just excited to get back after it again.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And stay tuned with us as we'll bring Carlos Bautista, assistant trainer, in our next segment.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Hi, I'm Tony Dillingham, Athletic Director for Jenks Public Schools. The first annual Oklahoma Athletic Directors Conference is the must-attend event for every Oklahoma high school athletic director. Join us June 10th and 11th at the Cox Convention Center in downtown Oklahoma City. The two-day conference will feature breakout sessions covering law, staff development, fundraising, social media, and many other areas that are sure to improve your effectiveness as a key administrator in your district. The OADC will also be a great place to network with key people in our industry regarding the latest issues and trends in Oklahoma athletics. Conference registration is now open, so visit OklahomaOIAAA.com for conference registration, hotel information, and details about the conference. Don't wait. Make your reservation today.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. I have a really special guest today, our assistant athletic trainer, Carlos Bautista. Carlos, welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hi, Gil. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got here and where you're from and what you want to achieve.
Well, I came to the United States 6.5 years ago. I came in 2013 on a tennis scholarship at the University of Tulsa. I played there for 4 years, completing my undergrad, and then I got the opportunity to stay and get a master's in athletic training at the same university while coaching the women's tennis team. After that, I obtained my certification and my state licensure in athletic training, and I started working at TPS last August.
How's your experience been with TPS in sports medicine?
It's been a really great experience so far. School can only prepare you for so much, and I was ready to get into the real world and apply the skills that I learned in class, but it's been a great learning experience so far. I've seen a lot of opportunities where I can grow as a professional, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, you know, day to day, it changes every day. You know, you're covering numerous events throughout the spring and the winter and the fall. What do you think the toughest assignment for an athletic trainer is?
Well, I think football in the fall is the busiest time because of the amount of injuries, the amount of acute injuries that happen on the field. But the thing is, once spring comes and basketball is on, we have a lot of games in a week. So the spring, I would say, is busier, but the fall and definitely those football games, they can be tricky when trying to cover all those injuries happen at once.
The number of injuries that you can have in a football game as opposed to a basketball or any other sport, actually. Although they tell me that I've had trainers tell me that soccer players are about the toughest players there are out there because they really do a lot of things that they do in football, but they don't have any padding other than their shin pads on their shins.
That's right. Right now we're in the middle of soccer season, and yeah, we're having a few injuries, but gladly we're us as athletic trainers, we're there on the field to take care of those and decide whether they can go back to play safely or we need to check them, let them rest for the game or for a few days. So,
well, let me ask you about this, Carlos, because there's been a lot of conjecture about soccer and headers and concussions and everything. Is that a valid diagnosis that by using your head, as a lot of soccer players do, that could exacerbate the cause for concussion?
Well, there's a lot of research being done right now about the repetitive subconcussive impacts in soccer and other sports. At the moment, the rules haven't changed, but we need to be watching carefully in the next few years, see what comes up. Football keeps being the sport with the most concussions, although it is not clear yet what those subconcussive, those lesser impacts do to your brain. So we'll be watching what happens, and we as athletic trainers, we're taking our players' safety first. So we'll
absolutely. You hear some conjecture that we may have helmets in soccer, to break that concussion of the brain and everything. Do you see that in our future?
Well, I think that, the first thing I have to say is that helmets don't prevent concussions. Helmets are designed to prevent skull fractures. So it is harder in a sport like soccer to get a skull fracture, although it can be. Helmets are never designed to prevent concussions. The only way to prevent concussions is to make the game safer. And I think there are ways to make that happen. And I think we should pursue that route rather than put a helmet on a soccer player.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've never heard that before, that the helmet for football players not for concussion.
If you read the sticker on the football helmet, it'll tell you.
Right, yeah, it does. It certainly does. We had to start reading those 30 years ago, I think, but this could lead to serious injuries. Well, you're recently married.
Thank you.
Yeah. What does your wife do?
She works at a embroidery and printing company here in Tulsa, in a local company, and yeah, we met 4.5 years ago at the University of Tulsa, and we recently got married, and we're happy.
So, what do you look in the future? What would you like to do in the future with your degree and everything that you have?
Well, at the moment, I'm gaining a lot of experience. I like to keep working and getting some experience, although I keep my options open. You never know when you're going to end up. My goal right now in the short term is to keep learning, keep my mind open, and learn from people around me, and see what happens in the future. But at the moment, I'm really glad to have this opportunity because I get to learn in the office and on the field every day.
Well, it's a pretty encompassing, comprehensive program that we have in sports medicine. I think you and Steve have done a great job in providing the service that we have for our student athletes. And we have some things in the future that we're looking at that will even serve them better, I think. Can't say too much about it, but it's something that I think is going to be really, really important for the health and safety of our student athletes and everything. And I think it gives the coaches a good peace of mind as well, that we have two professionals that are going to take care of their kids. I think that's always, you always feel really good about that, I think, when they have that opportunity. But in our last 30 seconds here, what are you going to do this summer?
Well, this summer, with the weather getting better and warmer, I like outdoor activities. I like to run and bike a lot, so I'll be doing that. I'll try to plan a trip to Spain.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully,
go back home.
And back home and just enjoy the weather.
Well, that'll be great. Well, thank you for coming today. And when we come back, we'll have Jen Sanders, Assistant Athletics Director for Activities.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education. What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills, the smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and today our guest is Jen Sanders, who's the Assistant Athletic Director for Activities. And Jen, you have a lot of activities that you have to supervise, but let's talk about the big event in the spring that we have for our elementary kids.
Well, that is our elementary track meet. It's been going on for probably 25 years or so. It's a huge event where we invite our elementary schools to come out and participate in a real live track event, track meet. So we have some of our high school kiddos that help work it, and then our district staff help facilitate it. But you know, they have the whole shebang. The gun goes off, the kids take off, and this year we've got around 35 schools that are registered, so that'll equal out.
That's more than half.
Yeah, that will equal out to about 1,200, 1,300 kids. Yeah. So it's packed. You know, you'll see lots of sunscreen being slung around and water bottles. But it's a great event for our kids, and it also gives them a taste of what it's like to be involved in track, in hopes that as they get older, they progress through and are those kids that are at the state meet. For the high schools.
Well, when, where, and what time?
Well, we start out, it's going to be May 1st, and it's at East Central High School at the Eastside Stadium. We start around 9:45. As soon as our buses get there, everybody unloads, and we get started right away, and we're usually finished by around 1:30, 1:45. We end the meet a little bit differently than most high school or middle school track meets. We do a co-ed 4x100, so those kids, and there's no particular way they have to line up, but I'm telling you, the stands are roaring whenever their 4x100 team is coming across the finish line.
It is really a great event for our kids. I look forward to it every year to come out and watch, because the effort is so honest. They want to win for their school and for themselves. And in that vein, that's one of the things that we're working on right now. For our middle schools next year, hopefully, to have cross country and track as a sport, because we have so many kids that exert through this thing for 4 or 5 years in elementary school, and then they're sixth graders, they go to seventh grade, and we don't have anything for them to do.
Right, and I can tell you there are many times, especially Linda Hisselbeck, who's at Council Oak, she follows those kids. I mean, they were in the elementary track meet. She can tell you they won first place in the 200, and now they're at Rogers playing basketball and running track. So it's really neat to kind of follow those kids along, and hopefully with a middle school program, we'll be able to just, you know, seamlessly see those kids progress as they get older.
Well, we certainly hate to lose her too.
Exactly.
She's retiring this year, and boy, what a great physical education person she's been for the district. She's really been good for our kids. Well, you have another little program that is growing, it seems like, by the day, Bike Club. Tell me about that. Bike
Club has just skyrocketed. I think a big part of the reason why it's such a big program is the mentorship that our Tulsa cycling communities give back to our TPS kids. But they are ending the year with their big bike rally. Previous years, we've gone down 11th Street to TU. This year with that little place called the Gathering Place.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to end there. So we're going to start out at Guthrie Green, weave around through Cameron Street, and then hit the Riverside Trail and take it all the way down to the Gathering Place, where the kids will have some time to eat lunch and explore the Gathering Place, and also be able to utilize that trail so that kids know, hey, oh, I live here. I could possibly hit that trail and go to the Gathering Place myself. So, and that's another great thing about Bike Club is we give those kiddos a bike at the end of their stint in Bike Club. So that'll be such a huge surprise. 2 Men in a Truck, they're huge partners of ours. They load up all of the bikes. Usually last year it was 260. We're probably looking at closer to 300 this year bikes. We take them, we drop them off, and we coordinate kind of close to Bike and Walk to School Day. so that hopefully those kids can hop on those bikes and ride home and use a safe route to their house.
Well, this wouldn't happen, of course, with your involvement, but who are some of the key people from the community?
Right now, Jason Horton and his nonprofit, Humble and Sons, and then of course Mike Wozniak, who's in charge of all the Sound Pony folks, and then Gary Percival is going to be taking a larger role. Adam Vandenberg, can't count him out. He's the one that's doing all the mechanics to our bikes and riding with the kids every Tuesday and Friday. He works for Fat Tire. But honestly, when you think about the support, there's so many folks that I could name, but I would say the cycling community of Tulsa has embraced Bike Club, and they've really changed the lives of some kids.
Well, I tell you, and that's another area, I think, when we try to transition into other areas, talk a little bit about the bike repair program that we put together at one of our schools.
So we are working on a bike shop at Tulsa Met, and the idea is currently in the city of Tulsa and probably throughout the state of Oklahoma, we are in a need for bike mechanics. And so this program will not only teach kids how to fix bikes, but it'll also, at the end of their year, they will get a certification that allows them to then go out and seek one of those jobs that we're so desperately, looking for people to fill. So it'll be exciting to see those kids progress, and then also it helps us because then we're not spending tons of money repairing the bikes. We have kids on site that can do it. These kids are learning a skill that they can take and, have throughout their life, or they can do it while they're going through college.
What a great opportunity, I think, and good for the program because you don't have that expenditure that you would have to raise additional funds for.
Correct.
Well, that program, in the 6 or 7 years that we've been here, has just skyrocketed. And how many kids do we have involved in that right now?
The end of last year, we had 220. We usually get the numbers at the end of the year just because every now and then you'll have one or two kids that, somebody breaks their arm. Not riding the bikes, but they just didn't get to finish out Bike Club. But we're probably looking at 300. We're going to add some more next year, so we're going to probably double next year, so closer to 600.
And there's an academic component, isn't it? You have to be eligible, making good grades.
Correct. There's 3 different ways you can get in Bike Club. 1, you deserve it. So academically, you're sound, you're a good kid. Number 2 is you need it, which means maybe you're that kid that needs to really work at it. And then the 3rd one is maybe you don't have great attendance and Bike Club helps you get to school.
There you go. Well, come back with us when we'll have Darin Schmidt, the principal at Memorial High School, to talk about interscholastic athletics.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to tulsarefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. tulsarefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy, and every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to tulsarefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. tulsarefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the principal at Memorial High School, Darin Schmidt. Welcome to the show, Darin.
Thanks for having me, Gil. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have a guy that truly cares about kids and provides an environment at Memorial. We really have a great feeling for Memorial in our office. You guys
Well,
do a
great.
good job.
I really appreciate that, Gil. 35th year in the business, my 7th year at Chargerland, and couldn't be more happier. I'm proud to be a Charger, and so far it's been a great run. We love athletics and the importance of athletics at Memorial, and just approach every day with that we can make a difference in kids' lives, and that's what it's all about.
Now, you went to Memorial when I came to TPS, because this is my 7th year as well. So, of course,
Gil goes way back.
You're 35th,
Yes.
my 50th. This next
50th.
year.
Ooh.
and this is your last.
I am retiring this year, yes, from education at this point. I don't want to retire. I want to keep on doing something. What that is yet, I haven't figured that out, but I'm sure it'll fall into place.
Well, you need some time off, and then you can catch your breath, and I'm sure you're talented enough you can come up with something.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
absolutely.
You bet.
Well, let's talk about Memorial and the things that you've been able to accomplish while you're there.
Yeah, proud of that school. Athletically, Gil, we really always try to put the best coach in place. And as I was moving into administration, I know that you worked with a colleague of mine way back in my Jinx High School days. But I loved what Bill Reisenhoover always used to say. Bill would say, Darin, the other half of the high school experience is athletics or extracurricular activities. And it's just that, Gil. Kids in my high school experience as a teacher, coach, assistant principal, and now principal of a high school, you can see how important athletics, extracurricular activities are for the secondary student. It really is what gets kids up in the morning. They fill a need. We're all gifted, Gil, in some area in life, and it's a way that kids can express their gift. And whether that's athletically or on the stage, acting, singing, whatever. But more and more I see evidence of that statement made a long time ago as I was learning the business, how important being connected, being plugged into a group, learning discipline, those values of teamwork, all those little things, details that go into making a better athlete, a better band member, better instrument player, whatever. Those things teach those intangibles that I think kids use later on in life. So I have seen those kids that will fall out of an activity just don't have that purpose as much anymore. So it's extremely important.
Engaging students is critical.
It is.
One of our great objectives out of our office this next year is retention. We want to make sure we retain the students that we're spending time coaching and teaching now and keep them moving forward through the feeder system to the high schools and to graduate and matriculate on to college if they want to. The great thing I think about athletics that I always say, it encompasses so many things. I mean, you take a football game, you not only have the football team,
you bet.
You have the cheerleaders, you have the pom squad, you have the band, you have the kids that come to the game. So that's why it encompasses the other half of education, because kids have, no matter what their role is on that evening,
you betcha,
they're enjoying being a part of group. And
I couldn't agree more. The culture that it builds.
Oh, absolutely. But you have other things that are pretty good. How about the robotics team? Yeah,
we are super proud of our robotics team. They just qualified. They went all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee. Through that robotics process, they have to reach a certain qualification status. I would liken it, Gil, to playoffs. I don't understand every detail of the whole process of qualifying for Worlds, but I don't think there is another robotics team, Gil, in this area or this region. Obviously, the state of Oklahoma that has had the success that Joe and Lane Matheson at Memorial have had, and I have to mention them. It is their baby. They give their lifeblood every weekend. They are, during this time when they build they have certain guidelines and time factors that they can build the robot, but they pour their life into it, get the right kids, get kids involved, and it teaches, again, a lot of those same principles that athletics do: teamwork, commitment, and just the time factor, putting the time in, practices after school, and it also gets parents in our community involved. So that's a neat thing.
Well, your fine arts program's pretty robust too.
Yes, I think we have the strongest instrumental music program in Heath Miller. Heath does a great job. We're always top notch in Metro Honor Band and TPS, and have a lot of first and second chairs. Marching season went well. And that's another group of kids that just is, that whole band experience is so important for those band kids to get plugged in. They just love it.
Well, we've saved the best for last. Three-peat.
Wow.
Back to back in boys basketball in 5A.
Yeah, Gil, what a special year. What a special way for me to finish up my career at Memorial, man. I tell you what, 3 in a row. I think I heard possibly you say, Gil, only one other school in 5A in the history of Oklahoma athletics has achieved that milestone. In my 7 years, there's been 5 championship rings, 5 gold balls, and the other 2 were a silver ball, Gil, and a Final Four. So it's been a successful run. Bobby Allison just does such a great job. I think when people think of Memorial basketball, Gil, they just think it all happens real easy. Right. And as you know, there's a lot that goes into that. A whole lot to go in there. He really takes care of kids.
Well, let me tell you, Darin, we really have appreciated working with you.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you this
I appreciate
year.
you.
And
it's been a pleasure working with you, Gil, and thank you what you've done for TPS and TPS athletics.
We enjoy it, and coming up next, we'll have Shelly Holman, the principal at Webster High School.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Hi, I'm Tony Dillingham, Athletic Director for Jinx Public Schools. The first annual Oklahoma Athletic Directors Conference is the must-attend event for every Oklahoma high school athletic director. Join us June 10th and 11th at the Cox Convention Center in downtown Oklahoma City. The 2-day conference will feature breakout sessions covering law, staff development, fundraising, social media, and many other areas that are sure to improve your effectiveness as a key administrator in your district. The OADC will also be a great place to network with key people in our industry regarding the latest issues and trends in Oklahoma athletics. Conference registration is now open, so visit OiAAA.com for conference registration, hotel information, and details about the conference. Don't wait. Make your reservation today.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we have now the principal at Webster High School, Shelly Holman. And welcome to the show, Shelly.
Thanks,
And
Gil.
this is the first time you've been on this show, and this is on your campus.
It is on my campus, so I'm pretty proud that I'm getting to do this. I know. I'm gonna get him after this.
There we go.
To this, exciting.
Well, you've got a great school here. I know that you've made some improvements while you've been here, and your staff has worked hard. Let's talk a little bit about what interscholastic athletics means to Webster High School.
Well, first of all, as the #1 fan of athletics, I love athletics. I know what athletics means to our students. I know that it means our relationships are going to get stronger when we're involved with those kids. We know that they work hard in every area to make their coaches proud, to make their teachers proud, their administrators proud. And we know that this is what keeps kids in school. There are extracurricular activities.
Well, you know, in that vein, I think you might remember that about 3 years ago, after a home game I came to over here, I called you and said, you know, you got the best band. You won the band contest tonight.
We have a fabulous band. We, with the consolidation, of course, we gained the fabulous Penny Davis, who's our middle school band, and she moved right up to help our fabulous Elaine Lancaster, who's the high school band. And with the consolidation, they've been able to join forces and really, really sound the alarms on band programs. Really doing well.
They're very talented, I know and they lend so much to the activities that we have.
They do. They support us in pep bands. Most recently, our middle school band has rated superior, had all ones in 3 categories, and then we turned around and did it again with the high school band. So we couldn't be more proud of that group of folks.
Boy, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, this is quite an undertaking you have here on your campus. This
is.
Studio C. Over here in what used to be the old gymnasium.
Yes.
And with the equipment and everything, and Dennis Burns and his students, this is very impressive.
Well, and we're pretty proud of it. It's a pinnacle. We have several programs here that we're really proud of, but the studio obviously being one of the top that we're proud of. We know we have a great group of kids working, and hopefully this will carry on into a career for them. They have wonderful leadership under Mr. Burns. He spends his time, I know, on the weekends working to create a studio with his bare hands and making it look just like it would if you were going into a television station. So we're pretty proud to host all of the Inside Tulsa Athletics and all of the other things that go through our district that we want to shout out for sure this group of kids and their leader.
I tell you, I've been really, really impressed, and having been doing these things for 35 or 40 years.
Yeah.
This is a quality program. This is and I think the learning that the students get from this, like you say, is so beneficial.
You're right.
When I brought, what was it, 6 years ago, I brought Roger Hess from Cox.
Oh, yes.
He came in and he wanted to look around, and he said, well, my gosh, you got the same kind of cameras we got.
Absolutely.
So it is good for them to be able to run those kinds of things, so when they get out, they can go into the business.
Absolutely. And a shout out to Career Tech too, who's supported us through this whole process and works, closely with all of our Career Tech programs. So, yeah, it's A1 quality, professional all the way.
Certainly is. Well, you've got a big undertaking that you're involved in right now.
We
It's
do.
Also Beyond. Explain that a little bit to our viewers and the processes that you've gone through to get where you are.
Well, Gil, after last year, we had a huge increase in our graduation rate. We were running a program called Diplomas Now. We were the only school that had a block schedule, which created a few difficulties for the district as far as just little, things that had to happen with power school, grading, et cetera. So we made a huge difference. And with this graduation rate, we really wanted to shout that out. We're doing a good job. Well, things end. So what do we do next to keep our kids engaged? When the Tulsa Public School Design Lab came up with the opportunity for us, or any high school, to voluntarily step up and say, I want to try something new. Well, if you know Shelly Holman, I'm one of those people. I like to raise my hand and try something new, try something innovative. So we have worked with Chief Castaneda and her group. We are ironing out details right now. We've had a year of on-the-ground planning to redesign what a high school should look like with student input. We want our students to be the ones that provide the input on what they want out of a high school and what a high school can do for them. So we're going to launch next year. We're going to launch with our 9th graders, our rising 8th graders. And we're going to do some things to make school look a little bit different. We're going to look a lot into the social emotional aspects of learning. We're going to look into some internships and some thinking outside the walls and really engaging students in peer-to-peer mentorship along with a caring adult. So it's going to launch big, and we're really excited about that.
So you're talking about doing this by grade level?
It will start with the 9th grade, the upcoming 8th graders, and hopefully it'll scaffold up until these 9th graders next year become our leaders, our senior leaders, and we'll just scaffold it up. We'll make some revisions. We'll look at thinking outside of the box. We'll look at student input. We'll look at possibly doing internships for programs such as this, broadcasting, agriculture. It's just endless possibilities right now.
So in 4 years, you will have gone through that group. Your benchmark group will be seniors.
They're kind of our babies right now. I know they don't want to be called that, but we're going to be using them as our force and our factors in trying to determine what we can do best to serve kids in high school.
Well, one of the things that occurred last year was when you brought the middle school.
We did.
Onto the campus.
We
How
did.
does that work?
We've actually been very successful with the consolidation. We now hold a full campus full of students instead of a 75% campus full of students. In this beautiful campus, we can now hold all of the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and of course the 9th through 12th continuing on. We created a hashtag We Are One. We want to be inclusive, that this is the family of Webster Warriors. And Gil, this is a really rich history at this school, the legacy and the tradition. So we want to make sure that they're inclusive of 6th through 12th.
And that really does is enhanced the athletic program, because you have your high school coaches who can have that input with your junior high student athletes to retain them and keep them moving through. Well, we certainly are glad that you're here today. You have a lot of things going on here at Webster, but
We do.
We'll have you back maybe so you can
Please.
be on here 2 times.
It's my studio.
And,
I love it.
Next up will be Mick Wilson, Assistant Athletic Director.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy, and every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now joining us, Mick Wilson, Assistant Director of Athletics for Compliance. And boy, Mick, we've had a busy winter, successful busy winter. But let's wrap up a little bit about our basketball and some of the awards that came forward.
Well, I tell you, it was sure a fun year. I can't remember, it's been probably since 2013 maybe, or 2012 that we had such an exciting year in basketball. We were talking, we had basketball coaches postseason meeting last week, and we're really talking about the highlights of the year and some expectations going into next year. But it's been a while, as you can remember, that we had 10 teams playing on the last Saturday to go to the state tournament. Ended up getting 6 in, but it was sure nice that we had that many people playing to go to the state tournament. And I think our kids really responded well. They were excited about that opportunity, as well as the people throughout the district. It's kind of neat during basketball season, Gil, to see all of our schools come together and really pull for each other. We all want to beat each other during the school year, but it's nice to see that everyone steps up and even have a group text of everybody's posting their scores. And
I think it speaks well to our coaches. I think the coaches have a camaraderie that they know that Green Country basketball is probably the best around as a league from top to bottom. And they want to be successful. They want their buddies to be successful because it makes them better.
Absolutely. When one shines this time at that time of year, then we all shine. And so that part of it's really exciting. It's exciting to see not only that our boys continue to dominate and have great tradition, but you've heard me say the last few weeks that our girls basketball, I really feel honestly, is on the rise, and it's gonna cause some of the coaches and some are out there all across the area that are complacent are going to need to raise their level of expectations and have their work ethic. And like I've talked about it, that if that results in them getting in more summer leagues and camps and things like that, then so be it. But there's no reason why we shouldn't expect the same out of our girls basketball as we do with our boys.
Oh, I agree. I think they've got to step up, and I think the progress has been made. Like you said, I think that we had a lot better across the board of the 9 schools. Some really competitive games throughout the year, and some surprises, winning and losing and everything through that. But how about postseason honors?
Well, the all-state teams came out last week, and I think the girls are due to come out this week. They've had their tryouts and they're doing their thing. But on the boys' side, we're really proud to say that we had 4 all-state, first-team all-staters, with obviously the Boone twins being first-team all-state. And then Seth Hurd at Booker T. Washington being first-team All-Stater, followed up by our 4A player at Central, Jalen Thomas. So 4 really outstanding basketball players, all 4 going to have a chance to play at a high level in college. And so we're excited to see what those guys can do as they move forward with their careers.
Well, I'll tell you, Mick, I think the guy that sealed his fate the last 30 days of the season was Seth Hurd. He played lights out, it seemed like.
To be honest with you, Gil, I tell you, the last 3 years, I thought every semifinal, final game that he's played in since he's been there, he's really gotten better each time. I told Conley last year when they got beat in the championship, I really thought in the semifinal game that he was a difference maker. He makes all the right plays. He's a glue guy. He doesn't care whether he scores, rebound. He just doesn't care. He just wants to win. And I tell you what, when you look at the records that Seth has put up at Booker T. I'll put him against many of the all-time greats as far as winning percentage, because the guy's won a lot of basketball games at Booker T. Washington with and for those guys. And so he'll have a great career in college. He's a great student, a great kid, and we're excited to see how he matures and grows into an outstanding young man.
With his size, what do you think his position will be in college?
Well, I think Seth is a good athlete. I wouldn't call him a great athlete, but I really like his knowledge of the game, and his basketball IQ's off the chart. You would like to see him maybe play above the rim a little bit more, but I think he's going to bring some great things to a program. He's probably going to be he won't be a stretch four by any means. He'll be a four that plays probably in the high-low, which is where he's really good at, the high post, by the way, and he's got some good low post action. But I think he'll play a 4 or 5 at probably I would say a low Division I to a really good Division II program would be lucky to have him. He'd do a great job for them as well.
It's great for him too. Well, it's going to be 80 degrees today, and it's time to get back outside, and we've got our annual golf classic at LaFortune Park. Tell us about that.
Well, I ran into Pat McCrate at Academy, not making a plug for Academy Sporting Goods, but we were out running around and ran into Pat, and we're really looking forward to another great year of golf at LaFortune. What a great partnership we have with those guys. They do such a great job, and Jason Mink, and of course we lost Jeremy Deere. He moved on to bigger and better in Kansas City. But those guys have a real loyalty to Tulsa Public Schools. I think the golf course and the park lies right in the heart of Tulsa Public, and it's a great thing for us. It's a great thing for them. It's a great partnership, and they do such a good job. It's always organized. The course is always in good shape, and their staff is just always, it seems like they go above and beyond what they should when we're out there. So it's a great time. It'll be Friday, June the 7th. And we'll do registration beginning at 11:30. We'll have some lunch at noon, and then we'll shotgun start at 1 o'clock. And it's always a great time to see everyone come back, whether it's Hall of Famers, alumni, community supporters, corporate sponsors. We get a good mix of everyone that wants to come out and play golf. And then, of course, we follow that up with our silent auction and our raffle and our prizes and everything at the end. And it just ends up being a really good day. It's really positive, and it's just a great way to represent the district to so many of our constituents.
Well, it is, and of course this year being presented by the Legends Foundation, which is, I think, going to add to the golf tournament. I think with their contacts and the people they'll get, I think we'll have a lot of players this year.
I really do, and the great thing that looking forward to would be that Pat has to close the course for the entire day as we play out two flights.
That's
that would
what
be
we're
great.
hoping. That's
Absolutely.
what we're hoping for. Well, we'll have you back on before the end of the year. I think we got about 4 more shows. And that's going to be it. But we're excited about where we are right now with our golf tournament and our basketball that Mick brought us up to date on. Join us in just a minute after we go to these commercial break.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Thank you for watching Inside Tulsa Athletics this week. Tune in next week when we have another good show about student athletes and the Tulsa Public Schools.